Hey, happy Friday, Dayspring. Hope everyone is staying safe and healthy, obviously, as we continue to work through our COVID-19 situation. I don't think any of us would have thought back of mid-March that 5-6 months later, we would still be dealing with some of the things that we are having to address in regards to COVID-19, not only in seeking to get the virus contained here in not only our own community of Mobile, greater Mobile area, but nationally as well. And as we continue to work through some of the guidelines, some of the things to put into place to help that happen. But that's where we are, and that's where we continue to find ourselves, not only as our individuals and families, but in our own church congregation. Thankfully, we've been able to return back to in-person gatherings, though they look a little bit different than they did prior to COVID in March. But now we are beginning to phase in certain other aspects. This past Sunday, we were able to start our preschool through student age-graded ministries meeting on Sunday morning on campus. Had a great beginning to that, and it was good to be able to have those different groups in place, as well as continue our in-person worship gatherings there in our main room. And we did have some of our adult on-campus groups that started meeting once again as well. And we'll continue to phase in those different aspects of ministry that happen on a Sunday at Dayspring as we have the ability to do so and can do so in a safe and healthy way. You know, as we continue to press through this time, I think it is important for us to remember who God is, to remember what God is doing, and remember what God has done for us in the past. I've recently been reading through the book of Psalms, and in the section I find myself now, the psalmist continues to recall or call to remembrance for the nation of Israel all the things that God has done for them. As they're dealing with present situation, he says, hey, look back. Don't forget the goodness, the faithfulness of God. Don't forget the promises that God gave us and how he continues to fulfill them today. You know, it's important for all of us to remember, because at times, I don't know if you're like me, I have a tendency to forget things. And sometimes I forget those in the most crucial moments, the moments when obviously memory is very important. And as I was thinking through what I've been reading in the Psalms, I'm reminded that's not only a practical thing, but it's also a spiritual practice that needs to take place in all of our lives. Listen to what the psalmist says in Psalm 105. Oh, give thanks to the Lord. Call upon his name. Make known his deeds among the peoples. Sing to him. Sing praises to him. Tell of all his wondrous works. Glory in his holy name. Let the hearts of those who seek the Lord rejoice. Seek the Lord in his strength. Seek his presence continually. Now listen to what it says in verse 5. Remember the wondrous works that he has done. Following that statement, the psalmist then begins to kind of walk through the history of Israel and how God had started them as a nation from a man named Abraham, brought them, made them into a people, brought them into Egypt, and then as they became enslaved there, redeemed, rescued them from Egypt under the leadership of Moses, and then began to walk them through the wilderness to the place that he had promised them, the land he had for them. And whereas the psalmist writes then, it's important for that nation to remember the history of what God has done for them. Hey folks, it's just as important for us to remember what God has done for us, and how he has worked in the past will tell us that he's working in the present, and he will work in the days ahead. You know, that's part of what the Friday Ministry and Mission Update is all about. It's about being reminded of what God is doing and how he is working, even in the different time that we find ourselves. You know, one of the privileges that Dayspring has is partnering with many ministry and mission groups, organizations that are doing gospel ministry. We do that on a local, national, and global basis. And each time that we have our Friday Ministry and Mission Update, we seek to kind of let you know about some of the work that's going on through and with our partners. And today I want to talk about one of our local partnerships. You may not be aware, but Dayspring actually partners with 15 different groups, different mission gospel-centered ministries here in the Mobile area. And it's a privilege to be able to partner with each of them because they're all faithfully carrying out gospel ministry in different ways and with different groups of people. One of those that I want to speak about today is McKimmey Place. You may not know, but McKimmey Place is the only location or only ministry for single homeless women in the greater Mobile area. They provide a tremendous service to the homeless population. And unfortunately, in Mobile and Baldwin County, over half of the homeless population is female. And McKimmey Place provides a safe spot for them. It provides a place for them to come and to have food, to be able to get training, and to be able to prepare to move from a homeless state to a self-supporting state in a more stable environment. We don't get to hear those stories very often because oftentimes those are happening in places we don't see or places we're not aware of. One of the things that we're getting to do for McKimmey Place during this time because of the COVID-19, normally the ladies will come there and be from 5 p.m. in the afternoon until 8 a.m. in the morning. It'll be an overnight shelter. But because of the COVID situation, they now provide services and provide a safe place for the ladies 24/7. So that has meant that in addition to a dinner meal, now they need a breakfast and lunch meal as well. Dayspring is providing breakfast for this group of ladies every Monday. So we drop off some food for them there and helping McKimmey Place carry out their wonderful gospel-centered ministry to the homeless women of our area. And recently I received a story about what God is doing even in this pandemic through the work of McKimmey Place. And I'd like to share it with you here through this video. And I'm just going to read the story instead of me trying to retell it because it's worded so well and reflects the heart of McKimmey Place and of what they're doing for the gospel there. They write, one of our guests, Sarah, came to us full of despair. By the time Sarah was 14, both of her parents had died. She was raised by her grandmother, and by the time she reached 40 years old, had buried her grandmother and all of her siblings. Her only living relative is her daughter, who lives and works as a nurse in North Carolina. Sarah has many medical issues herself and chose to stay on the Gulf Coast where she grew up and not burden her daughter with caring for her. Sarah worked her program and recently moved into her own place. Even through this uncertain time, our ladies are hard at work to regain their independence. Isn't that a wonderful story to hear? Sarah, through a set of circumstances, ended up homeless and on the streets, and then coming into contact with McKimmey Place, was able to not only have a safe place to spend the night and some food to eat, but through their program, she was able to be able to develop job skills, gain her independence, and once again, be able to have her own place to live. That's the story of McKimmey Place. That's what's happening through that gospel-centered ministry. And oh, by the way, even in all that practical assistance, even through that practical assistance she's been receiving, Sarah has heard the gospel numerous times. And Sarah has come to know about the love of Jesus and how he cares for her and how he has gives her a hope that goes beyond even the despair that she had been experiencing earlier. We're grateful to be able to partner with McKimmey Place. Not only do we do that financially and practically, but we have several Dayspringers who volunteer there, who serve on their board and help carry out the work that's taking place there. And again, it's good to be able to partner with those like McKimmey Place and the other 14 different mission ministry partners we have in the greater Mobile area. So again, as I always do, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your faithfulness in praying for our ministry and mission partners. Thank you for volunteering and helping in so many ways through so many of those partnerships. And thank you for your faithful and generous giving of financial resources to the ministry of Dayspring and specifically to Mission Forward, because Mission Forward is that fund that we use to provide resources for our ministry and mission partnerships. So even during this pandemic time, I know when finances are a little bit different, personal finances are a little bit different than they have been in the past, Dayspringers have shown yourself to continue to be a generous and faithful people in your giving. And through the giving that's taking place in Mission Forward, we're able to provide financial resources for a partner like McKimmey Place that allows them to continue to reach out to individuals like Sarah. So thank you, Dayspring, and we look forward to continuing in the days ahead and seeing God continue to work in our local partnerships, in our national and our global partnerships, all for His glory and for His kingdom and His expansion of His kingdom through the gospel. Hey, we hope to see you Sunday as we gather in person on our Cody Road campus. We have 3 services, 8, 9, and 10:30 a.m. During the 9 and 10:30 a.m. services are family-friendly services, so we encourage you to be here there. We remind you that at 10:30, we will also be having our preschool, kids ministry, and student ministries meeting, as well as at 9 and 10:30, some of our adult on-campus small groups. So plan to be a part of those there. Obviously, if you're still not able to do that or uncomfortable with that, we're still providing our online services. We have the Facebook Premier Lives that is both at the 9 and 10:30 hours, so you can tune in at either one of those hours and catch the service live later on that afternoon. Those services will be available through our other media platforms, the website, www.dayspring.church, our Dayspring app, as well as the Dayspring Baptist YouTube channel. Hey, it is a different day, but God is still the same. He is at work. And as the psalmist reminds us, we are to declare His wondrous works to all the nations, to all people. And that's what we continue to do. And not only through what we do here locally, but through all of our other partnerships and the different ministries that take place at Dayspring. Looking forward to seeing you Sunday, either in person or online. Have a great weekend, and God bless.